Hi everyone, this is Kyle with kayDbait. I wanted to make a video on something that is very close to me personally. Most of my friends are artists. Almost all of them are in some fashion, whether they're game designers, they draw, they write. Some of them are just very creative kinds of people, and humorous or just they're very imaginative. And I love that kind of ability. And I'm not saying that that's superior to people that can't. Everyone has their own skill sets. But those are the kind of people that I really enjoy being around. But I've found a very odd trend with a lot of my friends, almost all of them. Not all of them. Some very, very few of them don't have it though. And I think there's really only two. And it's that they seem to have this idea that their work isn't good enough, that their work is inferior to their rivals' work. And I do believe that it can be a very powerful motivating factor. It can be a very powerful, I need to become better. And that in itself, it's something I'm very proud of some of my friends for doing, because they have succeeded in becoming better. They've worked very hard at it. And I think that their drive is something that that I am very inspired by as well. And I want to be more like that. I want to polish my work. I want to be able to become better in my work as well. But at the same time, that feeling of inferiority and that feeling of I'm not good enough, I do believe it's harmful to some of my friends that don't have that stability to maintain it. And some of my friends have become very depressed. They've become very psychologically unstable. Not like crazy, but I mean they're easily put down, very easily put down by something that shouldn't have affected them, like negative reviews that aren't fair, bad reviews that are not being fairly given. And I don't think that kind of sensitivity is good. I know that you can say that it's a good driving factor, and I agree. It can be a very, very good driving factor, because nobody wants to be stagnant. They want to progress. But at the same time, when somebody says, your art are the best, and then that makes them happy, and then if they replace best with worst, they just become immediately depressed. And they'll ignore the good one. Like, it'll make them happy for 5 minutes, and then they'll go right back down to the negative. And if they do the bad one, they'll be bad for a week. They'll be just negative for an entire week. It's a very, very sensitive issue. And I've had this conversation with some of my friends at length. I'm going to say hours and hours. And a lot of my friends have the same idea, as they don't want to become stagnant. They don't want to feel that they're already plateaued. Like, I am the bestest. They don't want to say that. For one thing, they don't want to sound egotistical. They don't want to what's the word? Alienate. I was trying to say infiltrate. They don't want to alienate their friends or the people that look at their art and look up to them as artists. They want to maintain that, yeah, I'm not that good, but I try. That's the mentality they want. And I believe that a lot of them have that, and I respect that. But some of my friends, specifically my best friend actually, he has this idea that his art isn't good when he is literally the best artist. There's one person I know that is like, I haven't talked to him in a long time though, and they're hyper realistic painting artist, and their art cannot be topped really. But my best friend, he's that I regularly talk to. He is the best artist that I know, and many of my other friends, I've pulled them into the conversation. It's like, look at this guy's art for me. Can you critique his art for me? And they're all artists, and because I'm not an artist, I can't properly critique. So I was like, hey, my best friend, I don't want to say their names because obviously that's a privacy thing, but my best friend is like, do you respect that guy's art? He's like, yeah, that guy's really, really good. It's like, do you respect that guy's art? It's like, yeah, they're really, really good. It's like, I know both of them, and I pulled them both into the conversation. It's like, look at my best friend's art. Critique it, please. And I wasn't demanding. I was like, because they do the things. I help them, they help me. It's a very nice thing. But they were like, he's better than me. That's what they both said. It's like, no, I'm not. And it was just this, it like shocked it shocked them that these people that he respected and it's like these people are wonderful artists, that they would say that he was better than them. And I wasn't trying to say objectively that he was better. Art is subjective. Art is it's art. It's vague. It's hard to pin down. But when they say you have a better understanding of anatomy or you have a better understanding of backgrounds or lighting or shading, that's the kind of thing they were saying, is like he draws characters in much more refined than I do. He does the interaction between the characters better. He does those kinds of things. I'm not just saying he's objectively better. That's not a cool thing to say, but I was trying to present to him that his art wasn't worthless, that his art wasn't bad. And the reason I did that was because every time I tried to say his art was good, he would say, it's not that good. And on top of that, because that in itself, all my friends do that. It's kind of annoying, but all of them do that. It's expected of an artist to be humble. It's expected of an artist to have self-esteem issues for some reason. But here's the thing is, that was a weird sentence. When I told him, hey, you want to be an artist, right? Because he has expressed several times, greatly, not even me coaxing or anything like that, like trying to get him to say something, because I do that, but I try not to. Like trying to get him, I didn't even have to try to get him to answer the question. It's like, what do you want to be in 5 years? What do you want to do with your life? I want to be a professional artist. That's what he wants to do. Because I was like, do you want to be an artist? Do you want to be an artist? Like, I didn't do that. I just asked him, what do you want to do? He wants to be a professional artist. He wants to do commissions. He wants to get some kind of job in the field. He wants to do this. So what I did was I grabbed some of my friends that are professional artists, and I pulled them in. It's like, how do you do it? Show us. Because I was trying to learn as well. Not because I want to be, but because I want to know, I want to learn. And there's like, do this, 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 do this. It was very complex. And one of the things was you have to become a brand. You have to become, you have to become unique. You can't just be a cookie cutter thing. And if you do become a cookie cutter thing, you might get stuck in it. And then you won't be able to branch out and actually be creative. And that was very important, like, because that's what they did and they got stuck. So, like, avoid becoming a one-trick person, a one-trick artist. Avoid, like, they were telling, how to avoid certain traps, and like, this is how you accept payment without getting scammed by people that aren't actually making a payment, and Patreon and all these other things, like the things that help. And he was internalizing all of these, and he's like, these are really good ideas. So he made a list, and I made a list, and we were like, I was helping him follow it. And one of the things that we were explained to do was to get noticed, get seen, get popular, but because you earned it, not by being like that was one of the things that my other professional friend was doing, was he hated, or I believe he hated, he didn't promote the idea of drawing things specifically to get attention. Like I disagree with that as well. I don't think that's a good thing. So earn your popularity, do good work, and do consistent good work. That was the big thing. Consistency. Consistent. You can't post 5 things in 1 week and then not post anything for a month. People aren't going to know when the heck you're posting anything. They won't see it. So, and then you can't build a fan base or like friends or anything like that. However you want to define the people that you talk to for commissions and stuff. And so one of the things that I told my friend to do was enter a contest. Like, here, look at this contest. This person's holding a contest. It's draw their character or whatever it is. Draw this thing, and you can win in 3 different categories. You can win in most creative. You can win in best drawn and overall favorite. And he won. It took him like half an hour to draw this picture. Like, he did it really quickly. It was the day before it was due. It's like I told him like a week before, but he just never did it. I'm like, are you going to enter this? And he's like, yeah, I'll do something real quick. And he did it. He won the favorite picture and won $100. And I know that's a small thing. It gave him a lot of watchers on DeviantArt. It gave him a lot of publicity. He became friends with the person that was holding the contest, and now they talk regularly. It boosted his self-esteem a lot, and then immediately went back down again. But he would not enter that contest. Like, he kept putting it off. Like I said, I told him a week before, and he said he would do it, and he never did it. Why aren't you doing it? Because I'm not good enough. That was his response. And That is why I kept pushing him to do it, because he was good enough, because he was capable. He just didn't have this self-esteem. Like, he had this issue with even thinking he was good enough to try. And that is the crux of what I was trying to say in this video. Is I understand your motivation when you say you don't want to become stagnant and you want to continue progressing. But when your identity is so misaligned with reality that you're building up this idea that you're worthless and you can never be good enough. And I believe, what did he say? He said he wouldn't even consider himself an artist until he was as good as this other artist that was a professional, really, really high-level artist. He's like, when I'm as good as them, then I'll consider myself an artist. I was like, that actually can't happen. Because, for one thing, they are one of the highest-level artists that I have ever seen. And they are progressively getting better, too. So, while you may be able to start bridging the gap, for one thing, you will personally never consider yourself as good as them, even if you are. You're already putting yourself at that disadvantage. Even when an artist specifically says that they are better at drawing than them, they will still say they're not. So you have literally set yourself up to never succeed in feeling that you are good enough. And when I explain that, it's like, you've literally done this psychologically. And he's like, I'm okay with that. Because, and this is the reason, I will continue to become a better artist because of it. Or I'll continue to become better at art because of it. And I understand that. But I disagree with giving yourself mental issues to do this, because there's other ways of doing it. And some of the reasons I gave is, you're not going to stop trying just because you're proud of something. You're not going to stop trying because you accept praise at face value. You understand it. You objectively see the praise as fair, which they specifically don't right now. It's like they're just being nice. They don't actually like it. That bothers me. They're not being objective, and I want so badly for them to be happy about the stuff that they do. That they look at their art and they're proud of it, and they say they are. They say they're proud of this one. They're proud of that one. And here's something that really got to me personally, again, was they asked me about a picture they drew. They did a quick sketch, or they did a sketch for however long, I don't know exactly. It was only 30 minutes max. And I looked at it, and there were some proportions that were off and something that didn't look right. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of in a hurry. I have to do something. So this, and this look wrong. And that's my critique. And I normally give a much, softer critique. But at this point, I was tired, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to flour coat this, or sugarcoat. Flour coat. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This, and this seem wrong. And they were, like, offended. Like, they were not expecting me to give a negative review to this. And it bothered them for, like, a week. It's like, this negative critique I gave. It's like, I gave a fair critique. It was blunt, but you asked for a critique. If you were asking me to praise it, because that's what I normally do, because his work is very good, then why are you asking me at all? You're not asking me for a critique. You're asking me to praise it. And that's how sensitive he is. That's how sensitive to anything. It bothered him for a week. It probably still does. He just hasn't talked about it. But if you need that, I'm not a battery. I will not be somebody's battery for emotional anything. I will help you, but I will not lie to you. And it felt like when he did that he needs that self-confidence boost. And I keep telling him over and over again, I cannot be that for you. You have to be that for you. You have to have that objective self-esteem of your self-identity, of who you are, of how good you are at things, because others can't give you that. It's not healthy. And I think that he wasn't doing it on purpose. I wouldn't blame him because of this. But he has to understand that if he is that sensitive to somebody giving him, which was just an objective, like this and this seem off, and he ended up fixing them. He redid it a little bit and it looked a lot better. And I also told him, go to a real artist for critique. I'm not a real artist. I tell you what looks wrong. That's it. I can't tell you what is wrong. But he didn't want to, because they might give him a bad review, and then he would be crushed and probably destroy the image. And that is so unhealthy. If somebody you can't handle critique because it makes you feel so bad that you will destroy your work. Or you won't enter a contest because you literally don't see yourself as an artist. Or you won't promote your work, or offer commissions, or just your prices for commissions are 1/10 of what they should be because you just don't feel good enough. And then people take advantage of that. And they'll ask for requests instead of giving you what you've earned. And they'll just mess with you because they can. And I want people to understand that there are bad things related to what you're doing as well. And you will progress, you will get better, but you want to be a professional artist, and you're making yourself incapable of handling somebody that's going to push you. And you want to make a business out of this. And I understand that you don't want to see it as a business. You want to see it as something creative and giving to the community. And you're willing to sacrifice your happiness for it, or your stability for it. And every time I see him do that and put himself down, and not do something that he is completely capable of doing because he's afraid of negative critique, or of somebody calling him out on something that he's not even doing. And I want him to be happy, and he's very slowly edging towards happiness, but he's making himself more and more susceptible to somebody destroying everything he's made with a comment, with a statement. And it's not healthy. And I want, all of my friends have some level of this, even I do, where critique is hard to take. Critique is painful sometimes, especially when it feels like it's coming from a place that is real and that you are fearful of. So when you build up this internal idea that you're not good enough, this internal idea that you should do better, but you can't, you're incapable of being better, and then somebody comes along and they say, you know what, you're not an artist. This is terrible. Why are you even here? You'll believe it because you want to believe it, even if it's not true, because you've built your world around that idea. And I know that you might feel that, it's the only way to progress. It's not. It's the easiest way to say it is. It's the easiest way to maintain your compassion for others without losing your humbleness. Like, you don't want to say, I'm the best. You don't want to say that you're better than another artist. And I don't think it's cool to say that anyway. But you can still understand that you have a better grasp at certain things. That you look, I can draw a hand perfectly, and they can't. Like, here's some tips. He's not going to be able to do that because he's just going to say, you know what, I'm not even as good as they are. And that's problematic. It's damaging to his life goal, because his life goal, I started pushing this when he told me that. When he told me that he wanted to become a professional artist. A, B, C, and D. These are what he wanted. And then first thing I did, professional artist, tell us what to do. These are the steps. These are how it'll work with him. We talked about it at length of what he wanted to do and what he was willing to do, and I've just pushed that. And then one of the things that he would not do is he would not enter that contest. And he ended up winning the contest, and then he still believes he's not very good. And it's just, when I see people like that, it hurts me. And maybe that makes it selfish, that I want my friends to be happy so that I stop feeling bad about it. But I don't think it's a bad thing to want. And that's really it. I'm just going to repeat myself after this. But there's alternatives. And I think he's starting to understand where I'm coming from, because he keeps getting hit by this over and over again, where he'll get hit by something that makes him feel like he's not good enough, and then he hasn't trashed a picture that I've known of, but he's very unhappy with a lot of his work, and, well, enough of his work that I know about it. I honestly don't know how often he does. I just randomly draw something. I'm not his keeper, but he is very, very afraid of people not liking his work. And that fear leads him to inactivity. It leads him to questioning things that shouldn't even be questioned at all, because it hurts him and it doesn't help him. It's panic. It's blind panic, and that's what happens. And I don't think panic doesn't help. Preparation, because of anxiety or whatever, that can help. It's not preparation. You can't prepare for an opinion that you're only making yourself more susceptible to. That's not what it's the opposite of preparation. It's you're literally stabbing yourself, waiting for them to stab you. And it's just I don't know. It's just this negative thing that I've had problems I understand it. I do. But I don't think it's right, and I don't think people want to change their idea because they're fearful of becoming stagnant. And I think they're more fearful of that than they are of, shooting themselves in the foot. Completely ruining their chances. That's how I see it. And I might be wrong. I mean, it's worked for a lot of artists, but I don't know if they're happy. I don't know if they're... Almost all of them have horrible self-esteem issues. And I don't think that's a good thing. I don't want to be somebody's battery to keep them going. I want them to be self-sustaining, to be able to say this is good and to feel good about it, and not have to have me say it. It's not good. So I guess that's it. This is more of a personal thing. This is more of a thing that, again, it's close to me. It's close to where I sit all day, I guess. All of my friends, all of them. And I hope this explains things. I hope that it was informative. It's not really going to be entertaining. This one's kind of a downer, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you were informed, or however you want to see this, and give you a new perspective on art, on how struggling artists are very sensitive to things, and we, as people, should just tell them, like, shake them and just tell them they're great. But only if they are. If they're not great, tell them how they can improve and help them, build them up. So that's it. I hope to see you in the next video too. And that's it. Peace.